now broadcasting from my new training facility called Be Water Lisbon. Right here in Lisbon, Portugal, it's the Bruce Willow podcast. Today with a very special guest, Vincent Lyn, who's a master of martial arts, an action actor, a musician, and also a humanitarian. Get ready for a very rich conversation. Starting in 3, 2, 1, action. Welcome to Lisbon, Vincent.
Welcome. Thank you.
Why Lisbon? Why are you here? I mean, I'm glad. Don't get me wrong.
I've been coming to Lisbon since 2007. And
Longer than me.
Yeah. Well,
And I live
maybe.
here.
Yeah, and you live here, right? That shows the age difference. Be careful. No. I've a very dear friend and his family, who's a very, proficient sensei, Pedro Porem from Aruda, has been inviting me. We actually met in London at a Martial Arts Hall of Fame event there. And we just became instant friends. And he's been invited me for, so many years. He had this martial arts event he holds every summer. Sometimes 500, 600, 700 students who come from Iberian Peninsula and many other countries. So,
He's a Kempo instructor, right?
yeah, Kempo. Yes. So because of that, I came once a year, like usually in the summer. And so here I find myself in a kind of interesting part of my life. Mm-hmm. Kind of a promise I made, depending on if the political climate of the U.S. didn't change, I would find myself in another country. So, I have U.S., UK citizenship. Uh-huh. Obviously, moving back to the UK was a choice, but I thought, why not give Portugal a chance? So I've been here, off and on for the past year and a half. But I would say of that entire 18 months, I've really only been here maybe not even half that time because of my work, my foundation. I'm always, I find myself traveling. Yeah.
I'm intrigued by something, which is, if somebody asks you, what do you do?
Oh, no.
It's kind of hard not to sound like a guru,
Oh, God.
I do martial arts and I'm a humanitarian.
I knew that question was coming. I was hoping it wasn't.
And it's like, without sounding like a Dalai Lama of Kung Fu. What do you say?
I get asked that question a lot, and it's changed over time. Sometimes I say, well, I was a former, martial arts actor in Hong Kong, and then of course I was a model for Elite, and then I was signed with Polygram Records and blah blah blah, all these things. But
Depends on the person who's asking, right?
well, no, as of late, it's easier for me to say, can you give me your iPhone? I said, let me just type in my name.
Oh,
so that I don't have to explain all this silly stuff that
street cred.
probably you won't believe anyway. Yeah. No, it's really true. I was in London recently at a friend's restaurant, and there were a couple of women there, friends of his, and he's going off on my CV, and I'm like, oh God, it's an embarrassing thing. So of course they think he's just pulling their leg,
But it's better to have friends do that instead of you, right?
I know.
Oh, I've done this. I've done that.
I know.
Oh, I know that guy. Yeah.
But the thing is, she
I had
still
lunch
didn't
with George
believe
Bush
it,
or whatever. Yeah.
and she was gonna just I'm like, okay. I said, why would anybody actually make that up? I mean, that would be crazy to make this stuff up. Well, okay, yeah. So I said, I said, give me your phone, and then she started Googling all this stuff, and then of course. She was like, "Don't go anywhere. Let's talk."
We had this Portuguese guy who pretended to be a famous stuntman, and he pretended to have worked on James Bond and stuff like that.
Oh boy!
So there's this picture that Daniel Craig took. I think it was Daniel Craig. Yeah, below there's this glass table,
Okay.
and somebody took the picture from below the glass table, so you can see that Daniel Craig's with somebody, but you can't see the face of that other person.
Right.
So you can only see that he's toasting with a whiskey in his hand, toasting with somebody next to him, but nobody knows who it is. So the guy put that photo on Facebook or something and said, like, me and Daniel having some fun after the shoot.
Right.
And everybody here started interviewing him. He was invited to go to talk shows, daytime TV and stuff like that. Nobody went to check if fact check. Nobody did that. So just one guy did that after like 2 years or something. He was like, yeah, I think he actually emailed or called the production companies. They were like, we never heard of that guy. So, wow,
Yeah.
incredible. So
I guess it's also ridiculous because you're gonna get called out on it and found out on it at some point.
Yeah,
right?
you can't say you're a pianist. If you say I'm a pianist, then it's like, oh, really? Show me.
Would you play? Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
God,
Right?
like Twin Dragons, you know, the Jackie Chan
Exactly.
movie. One
Playing-
plays the piano, the other is like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah.
I love that movie. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
What's your favorite Jackie Chan movie? You can't say Operation Condor.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say that, well, as I've mentioned to you, the second Drunken Master.
Wow.
Yeah. I know yours is the first, but
Yeah. I'm a traditional kind of guy.
Yeah, that's okay. That's cool.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
So, so I guess it depends on the era of your life, and sometimes, you know, it goes in waves, right? Sometimes we were more focused probably on the piano. Sometimes you're more focused on I shouldn't say piano, I should say music.
Yeah, music,
right?
yeah.
Because you produce music.
Mm-hmm.
What's your relationship with music, by the way?
My mom, she was my first piano teacher. Her and her sister were called the Melody Sisters, and they had their own BBC radio show.
Oh, wow.
Of course, this is at a time kind of post World War II. And so I guess I got my talent from her. I actually started piano very late, considering to take it to a kind of, you know, professional Grammy / Carnegie Hall level.
So maybe you started at 3 years old. You should have started at
No,
1.
yeah, it's like, martial arts, you know, Jet Li started at 4. Yeah, I mean,
Can't be that.
it's crazy, right? And most, like my mother started piano at 4, but I didn't start until it was actually like around 12.
12. Okay.
So that's kind of late, considering, because you don't have very much years to build up this.
Did you want to, or was it something like it was kind of enforced?
No,
by
no,
your
no.
mother?
It's something that I wanted to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I kind of got.
Why didn't she teach you before?
I don't know.
Was it like I don't want to?
Yeah, I don't think it was
this type of.
Music was always either hearing my mom play or, you know, playing records, you know, of classical greats, Horowitz, Rubinstein, or jazz greats like Oscar Peterson, Errol Garner. So I think those things turned me on to wanting to play. Yeah. And I think it was a case more of asking my mom, hey, could, you know, I learn as opposed to being forced to learn, which I don't think is a good thing. Yeah.
Especially with the whole talk about the specialization too early, right? Maybe to have some sort of music school or some sort of background in music that's a little bit more broad first, and only then go for the piano or something, right? I'm thinking fitness-wise, it's always better to have someone know movement and know how to run and know how to jump and throw a ball, other than already putting them on baseball to wanting to be in the major league someday or something like that, right? So I guess that could be interesting. So nowadays, what type of music do you listen to? What are your top favorite bands?
You know, I mean, with the influence of kind of our global world, which has gotten smaller, I listen to a lot of global and world music. But
global and world music.
Yeah, but I still very much attached to, obviously, classical background, but of course, my love for jazz. So I probably would go to jazz before anything else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like what? Like which artists
do
you fancy?
There's so many. As I said, Oscar Peterson, Art Tatum, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love jazz too. I love jazz too. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. So yeah, so you started at 12. At what time? What age did you start martial arts, and how come?
Earlier. But again, it kind of parallels my life because of watching my mom play and music always in the house. It was the same thing, but more so with martial arts because it obviously comes from my father's side of the family. So seeing like his brother practicing when he would come to visit us, and I'd see him outside standing, practicing, wondering, what is that, or seeing uncles practice Tai Chi. And so that whole thing kind of got my interest. But then, of course, and so I joined an actual formally judo and karate school.
Oh, so that was the first.
Yeah, in England.
Experience.
But it really, like so many of my generation, was from watching Bruce Lee. And that kind of just switched my whole kind of focus and discipline.
Wow.
And to really, really like get serious and practice for, hours upon hours every day, just like music. Yeah.
Do you think Bruce Lee is like the most influential guy ever?
Oh, for sure.
Like we talk about influencers nowadays. Influencer.
Yeah.
More than Jake Paul and Jason Paul and Logan Paul.
No, he's definitely, well, he was, of course, maybe 50, maybe 100 years ahead of his time, but
Yeah.
very influential. Yeah, if not in my generation to generation after me, and maybe, yes, certainly like your generation as well, and maybe
Yeah.
even a little younger too.
Yeah. I have I always like, there are the official pictures from Enter the Dragon with him all scarred up and stuff like that. Those are very official. Those are very cliche, even pictures of Bruce Lee. But what I fancy is those in which he's more relaxed, or the ones where he was like 18 years old, just freshly arrived in the US. And I sometimes look at that because I have this framed picture in my living room, which my girlfriend allowed me to have in my living room. And I'm like, I want that one, which is him outside of that restaurant that he worked at for
Ruby
like years.
Chow's.
Ruby Chow's, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like all fancy, like wearing a suit.
Right.
And I look at him, and I remember coming home at like 4 or 5 a.m. drunk as a kite from going out with my friends and starting to look at the picture and like talking to Bruce Lee and asking, did you know, Bruce, where you were going to end up, how it all was going to, could he know? I mean, do people, I struggle with this notion a lot. Is life just a matter of circumstances that we cruise around with,
No.
like kind of like Taoism, or
I
do we
don't-
plan?
That's the whole like.
Do people actually have
It's
a
like
plan
the
or
whole
a method?
Forrest Gump thing, right? When
Yeah.
Talking about, life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get. But I
Isn't
don't,
that true though? No?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so?
No.
You think there's a method to anything?
Definitely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
But I also believe that, especially now more than ever, but if I speak from personal experience, is that I have, since I was 18 years old, I would say every 7 to 10 years, I've had to reinvent myself in some way.
Wow.
My life and career has changed. So if I look, let's say, at the last 10 years, I would have thought, okay, that's really extreme. But if I looking back now, previous to that, there were times, even when I was doing film, experiences where I found myself in situations dealing with people who are less fortunate. I met a family in Thailand. This was in 1990 or 91 when I was signed with Elite Modeling Agency, and I was doing some runway shoots both in Hong Kong and in Bangkok. And I met a family there and basically, it's a long story, and it's in my memoir that's coming out in about 4 months. But basically, came down to the fact that they wanted to sell me their daughter.
Holy.
For around $500.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so that was my first experience. And I was 30 years old.
Jesus.
I mean, this kind of stuff is it was way over me, And so that was my first experience into that kind of insane world and trying to understand what happens in many parts of developing nations, what was then called third world countries, right? So, so to see what I'm doing now, maybe it makes a lot of sense looking back, But again, I wouldn't have thought I would have taken it to this kind of level. Yeah.
So I guess what you mean is that sometimes it looks like it just happened, but it was grooming itself.
I think so.
In a way, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like the box of chocolates where it's kind of random and just.
No, I don't think. I don't think any of this is random.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and also I think if I look at even my experience moving to Hong Kong to do film, I'm the one who had to, even though a door was opened for me, small door, right? I'm the one who had to say, okay, I'm going to travel 10,000 miles with little or I really had nothing at the time in terms of, I had to actually, I had already gone through one divorce. I had moved back in with my folks in Connecticut and built this kind of gym in the basement of my parents' house and it started teaching. So I had 25, 30 students, right? And then this opportunity came, but I had to decide, okay, am I going to give it up for some whimsical whatever? Am I going to just do this thing and get it out of my system? Like every martial artist would watch the triple black belt theater or go to Chinatown to see these films of that period. And everyone's martial artist dream was, wow, I wish I could be on that. Yeah. So at the time, I had no expectation. I didn't get paid some massive sum to do Tiger Cage. I had no idea really where that would lead. I got this opportunity. They paid my flight. They paid my hotel and per diem. And I thought, one film and I'll go back and do what I had planned to do, which was open a school. But of course, things became quite surreal, and that film led to, a few dozen others. Yeah. So it changed the course of my life. But I still had to make that decision to go. And I think a lot of people would not, because fear, especially artists are very insecure.
Oh, wow.
They fear success. And so they're willing to, this is what I know, so I'll stay here. And, and it's also an complacency, maybe it's not greener on the other side. And it really wasn't initially, but, you work really hard and then it's something that, wow, this is, I have passion for this, and I always talk to students in lectures, you've got to have two things. You've got to have passion and you've got to have a sense of purpose. So hopefully that passion gives you that sense of purpose to move you forward. Yeah. Just like you opening this amazing place. I mean, it really is incredible. And I say that, and I've seen hundreds of places like this all over the world, but the setup is it's really impressive.
Oh,
so
thank you.
I know,
much.
I wish you the best of success.
Yeah, I think that thank you so much.
Yeah,
and I think that passion and that determination is what kind of shields you from those risks, from those risk aversions that one might have, right?
Yeah, but you have
to.
Yeah, you got to take the risk.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
It's like were receiving some sort of inspiration from above or something. So you don't think it was like, yeah, you think there's some sort of destiny in this, imprinted in this. Was that where you're going when you were saying that you had like a little bit of a help, but you had to do it, So there was a little bit of
I don't
this
think
is for
anything
me.
happens without someone opening a little door, right? I think.
What happened there, or how did the opportunity arise?
Well,
you were living in Connecticut?
Yes, I was living in Connecticut, but I was doing some like bit part, like modeling and stuff like that. So,
Oh, you already modeling.
just a little, a little, and
just a little runway.
No, that came later. No. And the photographer, who was Chinese, he had connections in Hong Kong, and he said, you ever thought you're a really talented martial artist and you're competing and teaching and you got a great look? He said, you ever thought of going to Hong Kong to do these films? He said, it's a huge industry in Hong Kong. And I said, I never really thought about it. I said, why? Do you know of someone I could speak to? So a good friend of his was an art director. And he says, I can give him a call. Can't guarantee anything, can't promise anything, but you should take a trip. It's worth it. Take your portfolio. And so I flew to Hong Kong, met with this gentleman. Like all meetings take place in 5-star hotel coffee shops. And so we met at the Sheraton, right across from where the Space Museum is, right on the corner of Nathan Road. Wow. And he put me in touch with 4 film companies. So I met Raymond Chow at Golden Harvest. I met with Samo's company. I met with Cinema City. And of course I met with newly kind of started by Dixon Poon, Dappo, D&B. And Cinema City and Samo's company didn't have anything happening. I met with Raymond Chow, and he says, wow, you're good looking, and from your photos, looks like you're really skilled. He said, if you stay in Hong Kong for 4 or 5 months, he said, you're bound to get work. I said, well, I don't know if I can afford to stay in Hong Kong for 4 or 5 months and just kind of hang out. So D&B had a project that had already started. It was already in pre-production, which was Tiger Cage. And I met with the producer and Yuen Warping's partner, Fish Fong, who I'm still like really close with today. And I met with Fish, and Fish wanted me to meet Yuen Warping. Wow. So I was in this office. Yeah, go ahead.
You already had a notion of who these people were, or was it like, oh, yeah, I think I heard about them?
A little. I knew a little I knew that Yuen was responsible for Jackie Chan's early career with Drunken Master and Snake and the Eagle's
Were you
Shadow.
already like a kung fu movie buff? Did you already?
I wouldn't say kung fu movie buff, but certainly I was watching all these films. But there were some people that not really behind, like directors and producers. I was more in touch with the people who were starring, and like Wang Zhongli and Jackie Chan and stuff. So from behind the camera, I wasn't in touch or up to date on who was famous or who was not.
Okay.
So I met with Yuen and kind of did this 30-second audition in this, 10 by 10 prison cell of an office space, and I was ready to go back to the U.S. because.
What was the audition like? What did he ask you to do?
Think about your Yuen sitting behind a little desk like this, and I basically have about
1 square meter.
No, yeah, this much space, and I'm wearing these. I'm not prepared. I'm not warmed up. Got these stonewashed jeans that were really tight,
From the modeling.
And he says, "Do something." So I'm like,
"Tell me, what can you do?"
Again, those are the moments when you just gotta do it.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
say, well, I'm not warmed up. No.
Yeah.
Even if you tear a hamstring, you got to do something. So I did a couple of kicks and, some punching combinations and the pose, the focus and all that. So a day later, I was actually supposed to fly back to the US. My ticket was scheduled and I told Fish, I said, I can't stay another day, man. I have to go back, He says, no, just stay. We're going to make a decision. I said, but I can't. I said, my ticket is for tomorrow, and if I change it, they're going to charge me some crazy. So I flew back, and within 48 hours, if not less, Fish calls me and says, you got the part.
Oh my goodness.
We've changed the main villain, which was the woman who kind of plays my kind of sidekick in the film. And Yuen wants you to play the lead villain in this. So within 48 hours, I flew back.
Wow.
And then, the rest is history, as they say. Yeah, because obviously I had no idea how big that movie would be. It was Yuen Woo-ping's comeback film. He hadn't done a film in a while. So he used every major star in Hong Kong, even then, and bringing back some of the old classic Shaw Brothers stars, like Wong Lung-wai and Beardy and all these guys.
Oh,
and so, and of course, then was grooming a very young, like me, Donnie Yen. Yeah. So.
What was your first impression of Raymond Chow? Was it like, what a greedy...
No, because
what a great networker, what a businessman.
Thank you.
What a cheap bastard.
No.
Not that I think those things.
No, because look, I was going in there, I was a cherry, man. I didn't know anything from anything. I'm going in there very humble and just meeting this person. Of course, everybody knew who Raymond Chow was because of Bruce Lee, right? So I was very humble and very just not begging, but just, this is who I am. What do you think? And that was his advice, to spend some time there, and I would get work, which in a way he was right, because after Tiger Cage, my plan was to go back to the US. I thought, did this film, got it out of my system, go back. No, within a week, because the premiere was enormous, and it was like, at that time, number one at the box office in Hong Kong, and then it circled around, Southeast Asia. And within a week, I got called to, from Golden Harvest, funnily enough, to star in with Cynthia, in Blonde Fury. So it just kept. It was a snowball. Yeah.
How was the experience in Tiger Cage? Was it too harsh? Was it like? How do you feel during?
It was just a really humbling learning experience, because I was, a martial artist, kind of stand-up martial artist. Yeah, I did judo when I was a young kid, but I didn't know how to fall, or I didn't know about choreography or timing, or how to take a punch, or any of those things. It was like learning on the job, So it was really, really humbling, and sometimes I felt like a complete idiot sometimes, So yeah, it was humbling every day on the set. And so what I did was...
What about the relationship with the other actors? Did have
I had a really...
like an ego competition? Or
No. I had actually, thinking it was like Simon Yem, Yem Dat-wah, a huge Hong Kong star, and Zheng Hot Yao, Jackie Zheng, who was really, they called him the Michael Jackson of Hong Kong, Those two guys were like probably, if not the biggest, some of the biggest Hong Kong actors of that period, And I became really, really good friends with them. And I'll never forget it to this day. I remember because Jackie Jung would always, at the end of the night, drop me off at my hotel. And I remember Yim Dat Wah, he would pull up in his beautiful, like this red Porsche, you know, with the whale tail. It was his own that he used in the film. Yeah. So, and I'm like, damn, man, I gotta have me one of those. Fast forward, you know, 20 years. But he told me, he said, Vincent, whatever comes in your lap, doesn't matter what film it is, doesn't matter if it's, you perceive it as a crap movie or it's some commercial, or even if it's one day work, he said, never turn it down. I said, really? Even if I think it's like a kind of crappy thing? He says, or a crappy project? He said, it doesn't matter. He said, never turn the work down because it won't last. Wow. And he, of course, he was right. You know, the industry, and with the 1997, the changeover back to China, of course, the industry and the economy took a nosedive.
Yeah.
And so many of the big stars like John Woo, you know, director, Ringo Lam, and Jackie, of course, Jet Li, Michelle Yeoh, they all hightailed it to Hollywood for that period. And then, of course, as things improved in Hong Kong, all those people came back. I mean, improved, in Hong Kong, all those stars that went to Hollywood came back. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But, you know, Simon was right. I mean, this is also the other thing, you know, and I've, from my life experience, nothing lasts forever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not at all. And that's why you got to keep reinventing yourself, as obviously you have done. So looking forward, you know, if I asked you, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? No, go ahead. I mean, you know, I'm going to throw it back at you now. I've been talking way too much. Sorry, guys.
No. That's fair. I think I'll be here with a couple hundred more students.
There you go. Yeah,
we've opened 3 months ago. So People don't know.
God,
we opened
no.
This great training facility in central Lisbon. So if you guys ever come to Portugal, you better come and you train with us. So the idea would be to have like this sort of hybrid place where people can have cross training and functional training, but also link it to martial arts. So we have jiu-jitsu, we have Muay Thai, we have boxing, we'll have other stuff. And the idea is that people get, it's like an open invitation for you to try something different, because usually the clubs here in Lisbon, they have like either fitness, either martial arts. And if you gather both, it's like, okay, so you pay X for fitness. If you want to try the karate or whatever, you pay some extra fee. Yeah, sure. This is one fee. You come here, you choose whatever you want to do. So it's like a hybrid type of place. But to answer your question, I think I see myself here, and we talked about this earlier, from the people that I had the honor to interview, and I'm pretty sure maybe you feel somewhat among the same line, because you have such an interesting life and career with so many things, and I believe that whenever you do one thing more than others, it kind of helps you relax from the others, right? So if you're doing humanitarian work, I mean, it's obviously very demanding, very stressful. So if you go on the piano for a little bit or producing some music, it might rest you from the stress that you were having on the other side, and vice versa. So if you're going to have a concert, it's like, I need some humanitarian stuff right now, because I can't look at the freaking piano anymore, right?
Exactly.
And I feel the same way with this thing. So every once in a while, I get called to be a stunt anywhere with my coordinator, David Chan. And whenever he says like, we got work, so it's something like this and that. And I'm like, okay. So I'm going to dip my toe in the industry for a little bit. Oh, that's nice. I kind of missed it. But if you were to tell me that I'd be a stuntman or an action actor or whatever full time and not do anything else, I'd be like, oh shit. The same thing here. If you would say you're going to stay here for the next 5 years without
Right.
leaving. You're just gonna be here. I'm gonna go, oh shit. So I like to be the one that coordinates and supervises and have the creative ideas along with my partners, obviously. But then every once in a while, I need to go and
Right.
fight, somewhere.
Okay.
And since it's not in the ring because I'm too much of a
Right,
pussy,
right.
it'll be some sort of TV show,
Yeah. All right.
Portuguese soap opera, European whatever production, But yeah, going back to where this started, from the people that I've had the honor to interview, I feel like the ones that stay too connected to Hollywood and wanting to be famous and wanting to do some other movies, those are not the happiest ones. I felt the happiest were the ones that had a foundation, a base, or a school where they taught. People like Richard Norton, who unfortunately passed away, but he looked very happy. He looked like a happy guy who had his school, his students, his jiu-jitsu, his classes, and then every once in a while he'd go to the movies.
Sure.
I think that's a great balance. What do you think?
I perfectly. I think it's got to have a balance of. Well, it has to be a balance in one's life, right? So, and for me, martial arts, as I explained, martial arts and music have always paralleled my life, always, and certainly as I've matured, I realize how important those things are. But it's also, it comes to the idea of training. I think I was explaining this to someone else. You also have to, as a male, because of our Achilles heel is always our ego.
Oh yeah.
So we always think, I can still do the things that maybe if I look at seeing Operation Condor, last month in London, I'm looking at myself 3 decades ago and say, I don't even know how the hell we did that. There's no AI, there's no blue screen or CGI or anything.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and so I said,
it's crazy
no way I
every
could do
time
that.
I watch it.
There's no way I could do that today. I wouldn't even want to attempt to do it today. So I think also our training has to, the way we train has to adjust, So when we're young, of course, our body heals, overnight. So we study these hard external types of martial arts. But, if you don't study internal martial arts, Tai Chi, Qigong, I want to be doing it until they put me in the grave, right? I don't want to get to the point where I see so many martial arts who have not adapted to the way the body changes. And they destroyed their body, hip replacements, knee replacements, shoulders torn, elbows finished. All these injuries. And, fortunately, I've never sustained any of those types.
It's funny how things mature, right? I mean, people mature, obviously. And I think you mentioned the key word there, which is want. I wouldn't want to do it anymore because, it's not just the fact that we're aging. It obviously plays. No, it's more like we change once, right? We change once. I remember thinking, why would anybody want to be behind the camera? Like I want to be a performer performer forever. But now it's like, no. After a while, doing other people's projects, it's like, you want to do your own. You want to be a conductor, right? Why just be the guy who plays the cello for some conductor your whole life when you can I think I can manage to create music, right? Does it make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. So, yeah,
it's just another way of looking at it. It's not like it's more putting the will to the thing as well as putting the creation and becoming an artist is not just repeating what others want you to do, but creating as well. I think that's the whole. Yeah, that makes part of the whole.
No, we
process.
We keep evolving into, as my dear friend Rick Myers says, to become a better version of ourselves. Yeah. Important.
What styles of martial arts did you practice? So you started with judo?
I started with judo and karate, Kyoshin. Yeah.
Kyokushinkai?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then
leg kicks and
studying
axe
with,
kicks.
of course, at that time, with my uncle in our family style of kung fu, and then even at a young age studying Tai Chi as well, right? And then, of course, came to the U.S. and studied. Before I went to university for like 4 years, like Shaolin Five Animal, Hung Ga, Choi Li Foot, yeah.
No.
There's a whole bunch of things I've studied, yeah. But as I started doing a lot more research, and of course on my family's history, that was everything else. Not that everything else had to go, but that's where my focus was, yeah.
Had you been to Asia before Hong Kong?
Yeah, my first time in Hong Kong was 1983, yeah, and met family then, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Your dad is originally from
Yes,
from
my grandfather.
Your grandfather. You
Yeah.
told me the town. I don't remember the name of the town.
Oh well, it's in the city of Shenzhen,
Shenzhen.
in Shenzhen, right? But a small village called
Yeah.
Samlilong. Yeah.
They speak Cantonese there.
Yes.
Cantonese, yeah.
Yeah. And Hakka. Hakka is another
wow.
dialect. Yeah, it's spoken a lot in because our family style is a Hakka style. So what also they call the Wanderer style, and actually the famous Wing Chun master Lung Ting.
Oh yeah.
He written 2 books about our family style. Interestingly enough, they're kind of a bit hokey and like mystical, right? But still being written about it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So cool.
When did you actually learn to speak Cantonese, from a very young age, or from
No.
this
My father.
portion
Well,
of-
my father spoke Hakka when we were growing up, but that was like, what is that? And so it wasn't until moving to Hong Kong, picking it up on the spot. I mean, even now, even then, it still was like 5th grade level. It was never fluent, no, but enough to kind of understand when they were talking about you, yeah, which was a lot, yeah. and then you're hearing things. It's, I can understand what you're saying. It's like, yeah, stop calling us Guilo this, Guilo that.
yeah. If it ends with Guilo, it's like,
yeah, it's not good.
It's me.
Yeah.
It's me. Yeah. So, what do you do now for fitness? How do you work out? What do you do? How do you keep so fit? How do you look so?
Thanks.
How do you look 30 years old? What's the secret? Tell me everything since you're here.
Well, the latter part, I don't know. Maybe that's just DNA, good genes,
A purpose.
yeah, a purpose, a passion, and also I think certainly living a disciplined life in terms of what you put in your body, what you eat, and exercising and training. Whether it's doing CrossFit, cross training. We have to go back to what Bruce Lee said like 50 years ago, right? Not just focusing on one thing, but cross training and doing many different types of, whether it's light weight training or, doing your jiu-jitsu or bag training or, plyometrics, right? PNF type stretching as opposed to static or dynamic, So yeah, even I do not, when I was like 15, 16, we had this old upright piano before we got the grand piano at my parents' house, and it was against the wall. And I would move it. It was like it weighed a bloody ton, and I would push one side out, and then I would push the other side out. So I would have it about maybe that far away from the wall, and then I would go in there with a book and slide down in a straddle, and I'd just stay there for like an hour. And I would do this like every day, right? Every day. So, when you do, obviously we know that static stretching, which is kind of a proponent of how the Chinese train their gymnasts and the Russians train their gymnasts, static stretching is long term, right? If you're preparing for a tournament or a film, you can't be doing static stretching. You got to do dynamic stretching. You know,
for sure.
whatever you're going to do in the film. So, and then of course PNF came much later. But yeah, at that age, where your body heals like overnight, you don't even feel anything. 15, 16. So, today at this age, I can still do straddle. I mean, without thinking about it.
You felt a lot
much.
of, for the audience that might not know, PNF is when you're at the maximum range, you kind of contract, you kind of squeeze all the muscles, right?
So as the acronym PNF is like proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation.
Yeah, I didn't.
Very fancy word.
Yeah, PNF.
Yeah, it's probably to advance your range of motion. Is
that how you felt the most results?
Yeah, later as the body changed. But I was a really proponent of static stretching. Yeah. But at a young age, that's fine.
We kind of follow the tradition. Martial arts is a lot about tradition.
Yeah.
Right?
And I still do a lot of static stretching. Yeah.
I remember doing things that were so crazy that nowadays it's like, now we have the research to either back it up or say, that doesn't work. And I used to do one thing that I saw in Shaw Brothers' movie, The Shaolin Temple.
Yes.
There are a couple of Shaolin temples. There's the one from Shaw Brothers with Alexander Fusheng and Chen Quantai and stuff.
And then there's a Jet Li one.
And then there's a Jet Li one, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean the one from Shaw Brothers. And there was this one guy who they had like 3 novice students in the Shaolin temple. So one of them, they put like some weights, some ankle weights, and they would ramp up the ankle weights every day, and he'd have to jump.
Right.
And 1 year later, they took out the ankle
jumping
weights
out of
and
a hole.
and he flew. And I was like, yes. Imagine a 12-year-old watching this. Yes.
That's it. That's the answer to
so
my
I started
prayer.
gathering all the ankle weights. Thank God ankle weights were not that expensive.
Right.
I had ones that were made like probably by my grandfather or something. So I had like, I don't know, 5 kilos, which makes for 12 pounds on each leg or something. I would jump for 10 minutes every day. I wouldn't sleep with them.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Wouldn't be like very socially accepted.
Yeah.
But I would go for like 10 minutes a day, jumping. Thank goodness it didn't really hurt.
Yeah.
It actually kind of stiffened my tendons, which is good for jumping. But nowadays we know about plyometrics. We know about exerting force and doing like 3 to 5 repetitions, not more than that, because after a while it's another whole energy system that you're developing. You're not working on the explosion, you're working on the endurance more than the explosive and powerful aspect of it. So but it was fun. We tried a lot of things, like if we would say, or if we would read that a guy like Jackie Chan would be in the Chinese opera, would be 1 hour doing a handstand, we would try to go for 5 minutes, try to ramp up until one day I could go for an hour. Of course, I'm still trying, but
nah,
not anymore.
We have to, a man has to know his limitations.
Yeah, I don't want it anymore.
There's no need. It
to
really
come full
is
circle
no
what
need.
we said before.
No need to do that.
Yeah, the other day we went out to lunch and we had an interesting conversation about what makes us tick about the. Not tick. Tick is irritating, right? No, what makes us feel good about these movies, and the fact that some of the movies nowadays are really good in terms of action, but still they lack a little bit.
There's something lacking.
There's something lacking, which is maybe heart, maybe something behind the fights. And we talked about how, for example, with Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung, they were so focused on the rhythm and so focused on that aha moment after the series of pa 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 pa.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing for it to convey the story to the audience, right? And we got into a point where we were talking about martial artists versus artists.
Yes.
Or martial artists versus actors, or fighters versus martial arts actors.
Right.
For example, when you met Jackie, did you find a fighter, a martial artist, an actor, an artist? What did you find in him?
Performer.
A performer.
Yeah.
So more like an artist.
I didn't think of him like. I told you that, story about when so after 19 films, I get the chance to be opposite him now, face to face. So I'm thinking, okay, I got a lot of experience, timing, worked with his stunt team a number of times, and yeah, this should be easier. And there I was working with Chris Lee and the stunt team to get this choreography down. There's this dance between two people, right? Everyone has their own kind of strengths, weaknesses. So they want to find out what those are. What are you good at? Is this a better leg than this leg? Which side are you more proficient at? Which side do you feel better at? Is this hand faster than that hand? I mean, all these types of things, Can you fall well? Can you not? So here I am 30, 40 minutes into getting this 15 to 20 move choreography. And then Jackie shows up, he watches it. So, you're sweating bullets and you're like, okay, I got it in my muscle memory. I got it now. It's like, reading a new piece of music.
Yeah.
Right?
Takes time.
And then Jackie shows up and says, I don't like it. So then you have to undo everything you've been doing for the past 40 minutes. And he said, let's do this. It's like, oh my God. So.
Which looked nothing like the one
before. It was nothing like what you were just, like working on.
Where did that land? Oh my God.
If that had been, let's say, the first film, it would have been over. Would have been a done deal. I would have been sent home with my tail between my legs. But yeah, you get into this rhythm. And of course, Jackie has a really specific kind of rhythm to his movement. I mean, he's done 150 films. I mean, he has this down to a kind of a science at this point, right? So, got to do it on the spot.
Each punch, each kick tells a story.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
and also, I don't feel that with a lot of people, or mostly.
And also the reaction tells the story of how you're hit and how you react to. It's the same thing. It's also, if you're not in the fight scene yet, like you say, 2-on-1, right? Me and Kenny Lowe, right? If you're not throwing down, then which means you're kind of waiting, but you can't just stand there like a stone, a block of stone. You have to be doing something in that moment to make it look to the audience like, okay, he's getting ready, he's scared, he's ready to. So even the person who's not actually in the moment has to be doing something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I find that a lot with American action films. I'm not looking at the two people. I'm looking at the people around them. What are they doing?
They're telling the story too.
Are they acting? Are they just waiting? Do they look like out of place? Like they shouldn't even be in the scene? Yeah. So those things are missing, I think.
That's where acting comes along, and I feel like stuntmen should have sometimes much more than what they do, for example, in the British stunt registry and stuff like that. They want to be good at everything. Can you ride a horse? Can you ride a motorcycle? Can you blah, blah, blah? But every once in a while, if I'm going to get a guy to ride a horse, I'm going to get a horse rider. I'm not going to get a guy who knows how to ride a horse from 100 lessons, whatever. Anyways, invest on acting. Acting is so important. We're body actors. We have to act, period. Yeah. And a lot of the times we have egg on our face waiting for our time. Looking at the camera. Am I now? Am I now?
Is it me? My turn? Yeah.
I remember this guy who worked with me, and it was the first time that I kind of... even though I was always very much into acting and performing and stuff like that, because I liked that when I was younger too. But there was this guy who came to work with us called Glenn Levy. He's actually a guy from New Zealand who's very, very good. He did a lot of the stunts for Power Rangers and stuff like that. The guy is really, really amazing martial artist. And what I learned from him was there was this scene that we were showing. We were shooting a Portuguese TV show, Portuguese vampire TV show. Called Red Moon, whatever. And the bad guy was fighting us. We were like we were fighting the bad. It was like maybe hundreds of soldiers against this small unit of vampires, and one of the guys was like, no, actually a vampire hunter. Whatever.
Okay.
Anyways, the vampire hunter was kicking ass, like kicking like one guy, two guys, three guys, but it was mostly like pa.
Okay,
Instead of like Jackie Chan rhythm.
Right.
You had like one guy to deal with, another guy to deal with.
Right.
So people or the attackers would have some egg on their face waiting for their turn. And so what happened was like, he got hit, boom. He came back, and I was looking at him because I think the guy who was playing the vampire hunter had like a little bit of a brain fart. So he kind of blanked out the choreography or something. So he kind of went to the other guy instead of going for him. It was his turn, and instead of the guy going there like, it's my turn, it's my turn, he did something like, I'm gonna attack him. Oh, do I have a gun? He like did this whole pretend like improvised stuff that where he was like, oh, do I have a gun? Oh, damn, I don't have a gun. Oh, nah. So he gained like 10 seconds from that, and I was like, wow, that's a great improvisation skill that he had. Like, that was the first time that I actually saw someone improvising with acting to fill out those
spaces
in between the fights. And I was like, oh wow, so this is what good acting can do to a stunt guy, instead of just thinking like, oh, we have to deliver a couple of lines. No, sometimes it's, the face and the movement tells it all. So it was actually fun to watch. Like, oh, do I have a weapon? Oh, I don't have a weapon. Oh, damn. Oh, now you're gonna get it. It was such a fun thing. Kudos to him. And from then on, I was like, oh, so I can create. I'm not just a pawn for what they want me to do. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to take much longer from you, but about the humanitarian work, you told me something once when we met the first time. It was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago in New York.
I can't forget, but was it that long?
Yeah,
wow.
Through our good friend Sifu Alex Richter. Alex, thank you for letting me know this amazing human being. And one thing that you said was that I actually told that story afterwards in Portuguese TV, but I didn't mention who it was that told me, but it was something like, me and Sarah, who's my girlfriend, we were with you, and you were telling us about this time that you spent in Ukraine.
Yes.
During, obviously, the war, and how you managed to get this one family out in a van.
Yes.
And by the rearview mirror, you saw this little kid that was probably 12 years old or 11 years old or something.
Yeah, Arseni.
Yeah, and he had this blank stare in his face.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, damn, I've seen this face a couple hundred times. This is like the trauma. Yeah. This kid will never be the same again. And I was like, we burst into tears when he said that.
Interesting you asked that question, if I might, because Victoria, the mom, the two boys, one was, well, there were three. There was an actual newborn that she was holding.
Yes, that's right.
But Arseni was sleeping on the back seat of the van. And we had like a 15-hour drive to get from out of Ukraine across the border, through Poland, through Lithuania, back to Riga, capital of Latvia. So when I asked the mom if I could take a photo of us, me and him, and Arseni was lying down in the back, and I thought he was just sleeping. It wasn't until a few weeks later that I opened up the photo that his eyes were like open, like had this blank 1,000-yard stare. Yeah, which I have seen before on children who've been through trauma, war, child soldiers, trafficked children. So, and when we got to Riga, he had asked his mom, obviously in Ukrainian, and of course with the team that I had, they could speak Russian, Ukrainian, Latvian, English, Polish. So I happened to say, what was he asking? It was like 3 a.m. in the morning when we finally got them to a safe place. He said he was asking, why are these people being so nice to us? Meaning us, why they don't know us. He said, why are they doing this for us? So obviously it shows the kind of traumatic experience and horror that he had witnessed. And I'm not going to get into it, but again, it's a story in my memoir. But the good thing is there are some good stories with good endings. Not all. Usually they're not good endings. So I stayed in touch with that particular family. I can't stay in touch with all, but that one family I stayed in touch with to find out how they were readjusting to their new life in Latvia. Victoria's husband obviously had to stay in Ukraine because men between the ages of 18 to 60 have to remain.
There.
Right?
Yeah. They have
And
to stay.
he's also a computer tech, so of course someone with those kind of skills
could
stay.
help. Yeah.
So he would come and visit her and his boys in Riga, but they're still there. They didn't go back to Ukraine, and they have readjusted. The boys are big hockey players, so now he's playing for like his school.
Oh, nice.
And competing and all this kind of stuff. And I saw them last year. So I was in Latvia again, and I made a point of just seeing how they are. And, so they're doing well. They've adjusted.
Oh,
and luckily
nice.
the older boy, obviously the young one, and of course the baby, I'm not going to know anything. But if anything would have affected the older boy, but he has adjusted, and he's very, very, he just has a really good outlook, and he's a really good athlete, so that is, and the mom is doing well. But so that's a good story.
Yeah.
It's not always that. It's
Among
not,
others.
It's not always the case. It's not
Among
always
so
the
many
case.
that.
So, yeah.
Wow. Talk to me about your memoir. So it's coming soon?
Yeah, it's called Scars, as in scars the world can't see. And it's got picked up by a big European publisher. I signed the contract last month in London. So it's going through the editing process, and then we'll talk about, cover and all that stuff. So it's supposed to come out in about 4 months. And then I have a European book tour set up for after it comes out. So like around 6 or 7 cities in Europe. Yeah, so I'm very excited about it. Yeah, it's obviously about my kind of childhood, and then of course I do talk a good amount, 3 or 4 chapters about Hong Kong career, music, but I would say half of it is about the last 10 years of my life, about all the things that I have been working on through my foundation, humanitarian work, my travels, and rescue recovery of, children in war-torn nations.
I'm sure you put everything in its due place, so it's not even a comparison, but it might seem like every era of your life, this one specifically, where you are so close to wars and confrontations and all the humanitarian work, does it kind of shun the other areas of your life? Like, working with Jackie is amazing, but then this kind of nobody tops this. I mean, I have to talk. This always boils a little harder.
Using it tops it as if it's a competition, but
yeah.
When I look at those, Hong Kong, Korea, Carnegie Hall, all those things, they're very important. They're very. I mean, most people would be impressed with just one of those things.
Oh yeah,
but for me personally, can't compare with. How can it compare with saving lives?
I guess it keeps you grounded too.
Yeah, and
in order not to get too bloated here. Oh yeah, Carnegie Hall.
No, got to trim. Go back to the How can it compare with protecting the lives of the next generation?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
It's impossible.
Yes. I had a little bit of a punchline when I was talking about how I told that story on national TV. which I kind of ruined, by the way, because
It's okay.
I said rear view mirror. You're like, no, it was a picture. Damn, it was a picture.
It's all right.
But
It
I think I
doesn't
actually told it correctly. I just
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
remember it right now. But it's
Yeah.
because you actually sent me the picture afterwards. Yeah, I remember that. So, but the punchline was that somebody took that, and did like a reel, those like clips, video clips for Instagram, for Facebook,
okay.
like a small little segment.
Right.
And I saw that, I was like, I burst into tears because not obviously because of the story itself, but because me and Sarah, we were freshly, we were just being parents. We became parents like a very short while before you told us that story. So we're like, imagine a kid who we're trying to raise now, and we're trying to deal with the whole thing of being parents. Actually, imagine the trauma imprinted in a kid several years later, which is like, oh my God, we felt it really, hardly. But then, out of the whole comments for that video, there was like this one or two guys, not a lot of people. Most people were like, oh my God, no, yeah, that must be hard and blah, blah, blah. And there was this one guy who said, yeah, Ukrainian war. There are so many wars. Why is this guy talking about this war? And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean,
He's talking about you.
So he wants me to, in a podcast, talk about all the wars. Okay, you
would be here till.
Screw Ukraine and screw the kid because there are hundreds of wars going on. What about Africa? What about blah blah blah? What about? And I'm like, So my final question is:
it's always easy to say that, but
what do we need?
Those types of people have never
get...
set foot in a war zone.
Yeah, the thing is like,
yeah.
What do we need in order to actually try to change people's perspective on things instead of going like, yeah, that was tough. What about this? What about this? I mean, yeah, they're all tough. I'd love to save everybody,
Impossible.
Wow.
Impossible.
It's such a, and it wasn't like, sometimes it's like a kid that's the good, it was like a 45-year-old guy. And I was like, what the fuck? What have you been doing with your life?
Yeah, you can't even
You
can't even expend the effort to explain
it.
There's no point.
It didn't get me bothered. It was just like such a right.
I mean, right now we have those types who will. Ukraine was very much in the news. Gaza and Palestine has took that over in terms of the news cycle.
For sure.
Yeah.
Broadcasting is broadcasting. They have to keep.
We won't talk about, the ongoing civil war and ethnic cleansing going on in Sudan right now, right? So, and that's been going on for more than a decade, if not 2 decades. Or the other 50 conflicts that are going on in the African continent. Come on. Or the longest running civil war in Myanmar. I could go on and on and on. I mean, so this is such a silly question.
A lot of things to be fixed.
Yeah.
A lot of things to be fixed. Yeah. Do you have any message you want to convey to people who might be looking at us and listening to right now?
I said it already, especially more for the younger generation. 2 things: passion, purpose. Got to have those 2 things just to even get yourself in the mix of things.
How do they find that?
Well, first of all, I think...
Or does it find them?
I think you've got to know what you want.
How do you know what you want? By trying out?
Got to figure it out. You got to know what you want. I mean, and the sooner you figure that out, the better off you'll be. And it doesn't mean, the amount of lectures I gave from middle school, high school, university in the past year, thousands of students. And I always ask that question. And I could be in a room with 200 students, and I'll go around. So what do you think you want to do in university? No idea. I would say 10% might know, who'll come back with a strong answer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you're like,
Yeah. Right here in Portugal, maybe this is a good story to end with, is that it was a high school in Azambuja. And this black kid who seemed to be part of this kind of leader of this kind of cliquey, cool group. You know, you could tell by the kind of clothes they wear, you know, and the kicks they wear, and the hoodies. It was kind of like this little cliquey group, you know. So I asked, again, students. Most of them didn't answer the question. One or two kind of had an idea what they wanted to do. One said wanted to be a doctor or a pediatrician, and one said a lawyer, you know. And I asked this young kid, and actually put up his hand. I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "I want to be a pastor."
A pastor? Oh, wow.
Everyone laughed. Even the teachers, some of them, which kind of upset me.
Yeah, that's such a...
It's going live, guys, no. And I said, okay, that is interesting. I said, can I ask you some personal questions then? So I asked him where he was from, and I believe it was, if I remember, it was either Cape Verde or Angola,
okay.
right? One of the former, colonies of Portugal. So I said, what's your faith? And he said, Catholic. I said, okay. I said, do you go to church like every week, Sunday or whatever? He said, I do. I said, good. I said, do you read the Bible a lot? He said, yes, I do. I said, do you study it? He said, I do.
Good question.
So I said, okay. I said, then have you thought about joining like seminary? I said, if you believe that's your goal, then you should think on those lines. You seem to be doing the right thing. You're strong with your faith, you go to church, you're studying the Bible, not just reading some passages. I said, think about that. After you finish high school this year, think about seminary. Think about studying, religious ethics or whatever it is you can find in. I'm sure there must be these types of places of education here in Portugal. So the interesting thing is, I'm probably the first person ever who has had that type of a conversation with him.
Huh.
So to laugh at him is ridiculous.
So nobody took him serious when he said
nobody's taking him seriously. And once I engaged in that conversation, I could tell that he was a lot smarter than everyone made out that he was, And yeah, he's this groupie, cliquey, and leader of this kind of, and they laughed at him as well, even his so-called friends.
Yeah.
So
it's puzzling.
Gotta listen to the youth, man. They're the ones who's going to be running the place. So already I'd be interesting to speak with him or meet him again in 5 years and see what he's done.
Yeah,
if he's taken it to that level.
It'd be such a shame if he would go after the laughs,
But it seems already he has a passion.
Uh-huh.
Now, he might not know yet what his purpose is. He's still only 18, 17.
And he might try and not make it.
But the passion seems to be there, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I say, well, you got to know what you want. Maybe deep down, he's scared to say it because he thinks everyone's going to laugh at him, as everyone did. But the moment I took him seriously, he engaged with me on a serious level. So there we go.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, let's hope for the best.
Yeah, and I'm actually going back to that same high school on the 27th to speak.
Nice.
And now I know from what I've heard the television will be there as well.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. It'll be a Portuguese broadcaster right now.
There you go.
Got to work on your Portuguese.
No, I know. I can't do it without that. Sorry.
Are you going to learn Portuguese?
I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Thank you so much for this moment, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate having you here, and I hope we can reconnect soon. And I hope people enjoy it. And guys, give us your love by commenting, by liking, sharing, subscribing, all the works.
Yeah, subscribe, man. Subscribe. Come
Subscribe,
on.
subscribe,
Yes.
man. And if you're ever in Portugal,
Got to see you in this studio too. This is the place.
yeah, this is the place to be.
Be water. Be water, my friend.
friends. Thank you so much, Vincent.
Thanks. All right. Good. Thanks.
Guys, talk soon and follow Bruce Willow, not only here on YouTube, obviously, but also on Instagram and TikTok. I put things there every once in a while, but I prefer Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Cool.